started. So I want to talk to you about some of the key drivers that work for human beings in business and in life and in general, but key human drivers that actually get us better results in business. It starts out with an iceberg. You see, we all know the story about an iceberg, and we all know which part of the iceberg it was that sank the ship. See, the reason we use the iceberg analogy is because, well, what happens above the surface is what we see, right? What we see above the surface is kind of like the actions that we make, and that's the decisions that we make, and perhaps the behaviours that we demonstrate. These things go up above the surface, and they're evident to us and they're evident to people around us, as that's the person that shows up on a daily basis and does stuff and generates results. And that's kind of the day-to-day and what we see happening. That's often what managers and what consultants work around in terms of what we see going off. What's fascinating is what goes on beneath the surface to drive this. And what happens beneath the surface is, in order for all these things to happen, when the world throws a stimulus at us, when it throws an opportunity or a challenge at us, we delved into our skill set. It's like a toolbox of things that we've garnered through the years. And when this happens, I'll go get this particular tool out of the box and it handles that situation. And the great thing about skills are, if we want to learn some more, we can learn another skill. We can just go away and learn carpentry. We can go and learn needlework, or we can go learn better sales, or we can learn how to delegate, how to manage our time. So the skill sets are things that we can develop over time. But they're the first ones next to the surface. So whatever happens up here, here's the first place we go. So what's the skill set we've got for that? Interesting, what then sits underneath the skill set is a set of beliefs. Now, beliefs are fascinating. Beliefs are something that we hold true. Something we hold to be true right now. Now, we can change our beliefs, okay? We probably know somebody in our life who at one time in life believed in God and has moved, or vice versa, somebody in our life who was an absolute atheist who now believes in God. Some people believe they're great at sales, and some people believe they're really rubbish at sales, despite the evidence to the contrary. So the belief set around, are we good at something? Are we not good at something? Really powers then what happens here. Because the guy who felt he was good at sales was constantly developing his skill set. He's constantly learning, constantly developing, getting better and better and better at it. It's like riding a bike. If you're good at it, you carry on getting good at it. If you don't think you're good at it, you're probably going to go to one side and not do it. It's the same with the skill sets we get around our working life. And underpinning our belief set, something that came to us much earlier in life. And between the years of 7 and 10 or 12 in our life, we've got a set of values of our life. And our values change much more slowly than our belief set. We can still change our values, but our values came to us from the environment we were brought up in. The people who brought us up gave us a set of values. The environment around us, the community we're in, gave us a set of values. And we know when somebody offends the values because it really, really upsets us. So bear in mind, last time somebody really pissed you off, they hit one of your values. And if you can understand the order in which your values run, what your values are and which order they run in, you can understand how you make decisions. And if you want to shift that order around how you make value of what values you have and how you use those to make decisions, you can change how you respond in the moment in your life. If you can change the value set, if you start to look at what your value sets are, that drives your belief set, and your belief set drive your skill set, and your skill sets drive what goes on above the surface. But what underpins all that is who we believe we are, our identity, and our identity drives the values that we hold, which drive everything else. So identity, being a great leader in business, being a leader in the community or a pillar in the community or somebody in the church, a great father, a great parent, or indeed a great business coach, owning that identity, that gives you an immutable set of values, which then drives beliefs, which then drives the skills, which then change the results. So you see how what happens underneath the surface drives what happens above the surface. The only reason we talk about planning is because planning tells us what we need to do here, but then if we need, tells us what skill sets we need, and then perhaps what areas we believe we've got the default saying we need to stand up, which then drives down to right. So where do our values sit in terms of doing that? And then who do we need to be? What is the person that needs to turn up in order to drive the plans that we put in place? And the shortcut that we'll always look at then is what is the environment? Okay, going back to the analogy of the iceberg, trying to write and talk at the same time. If that's sat in salt water, it's going to sit higher up than it's going to sit if it's in natural water. If it's in warm water, it's going to be degrading and falling away. And if it's in really cold water, it's going to be accreting more ice. The environment changes it. So what's the environment? What's the 5 people you spend the most time with? Are they inspirational thought leaders playing on your iPod? Are they inspirational thought leaders who you visit and speak to? Are they forward-thinking, optimistic people that you spend your time with who are happy and jolly and content with their lives? Or are they negative naysayers who are gossiping and bitching? Choose the people you spend the time with. Choose the environment in your office so it inspires and lifts you when you walk in. Choose carefully what the environment is, because that then drives so much more that goes on around here. So a quick run through the identity iceberg, because the identity iceberg is a really, really powerful tool related to 90-day planning in terms of what is the person that needs to turn up in order to deliver the plan and drive all these areas to develop the skills to change the results. Because fundamentally, if we start changing what goes off down here, we massively and habitually change what goes off up there. That's the identity iceberg in brief, in fast, and a tool that we use to coach around all the time. I'm Ian Strachan, business coach.